Good morning, it's about 9:30 now on a Thursday. Workout is done and I'm getting ready to head over to the barn. The sun is finally coming out. It was drizzly and kind of rainy all morning, which basically just means it is disgustingly humid outside now. So still trying to get Freddie out for her walk earlier in the day whenever possible before it gets super hot in the afternoon. But this morning I was happy to see that my sleep and recovery stats on my Oura Ring were back up again, and I felt much better when I got up today. Yesterday when I woke up, I felt like my sleep had been just kind of disrupted and I woke up super early and couldn't get back to sleep, and then I kind of had that like groggy feeling all morning and just felt really fatigued throughout the day. And my Oura Ring also reflected that in my sleep and recovery scores. My resting heart rate was a bit elevated and my sleep quality definitely was not what it usually is. And that's really why I try to be as consistent as possible with a lot of my daily wellness habits, like getting morning sunlight and good nutrition, hydration, getting movement every day, those things that keep my circadian rhythm on track and kind of just controlling what I can control. Because then when I do have a night like that where for whatever reason my sleep's not as good or it's harder to fall asleep or I wake up too early and then I just feel kind of icky throughout the day, it's a lot easier for me to just kind of let that go and not worry about it or not be like, what did I do yesterday that contributed to this? And I mean, sometimes there are going to be obvious factors, like if I'm traveling or maybe I'm in a different environment or something where I can understand why my sleep or recovery might be compromised. Just on a day-to-day basis, if I do have kind of an off night, if something interrupts my sleep for some reason, I can be pretty sure that I'm going to get back on track within a night or two. I don't have to worry that like my whole sleep cycle is going to be messed up. I just get back to the basics, try to stick to my normal routine as much as possible. And then like today, I usually see that like my sleep last night felt really good, felt normal, and then my sleep and recovery data gets right back on track. And it just makes it that much easier for me on harder days or days where I'm feeling a lot more fatigued or maybe groggy, maybe I have more pain, whatever, to just kind of accept it and be okay with it and know that it's probably going to change the next day or it's not going to last forever. Kind of sticking to my routine and again, just controlling what I can control, letting go of what I can't control. For me at least, it's a lot less of a mental burden because I'm just not like thinking so much about how I'm feeling physically or what that might mean. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, that's just my little thought of the morning and it's time to get over to the barn. Well, I am home from the barn, but only for a little bit. It was kind of an interesting sequence of events this morning. When I went over to the barn and took Freddie out, I was grooming her and she just seemed a little bit off, like she was sort of holding her right hind leg, which is the leg that she's previously injured a few times. She always kind of favors that leg a little bit, like she doesn't want to rest her full weight on it a lot, which is pretty normal given the situation. But today she was holding it differently. I just noticed that like it just looked kind of awkward. And then as soon as I went to brush it at all, she was very touchy, and that was kind of concerning. Obviously, I have never seen her react that way before. So I texted my friend whose barn it is that Freddie's living at, and she said that Freddie had gotten a little bit cast in her stall today, which basically means like sometimes the horses will lay down or roll in their stall and they can get their foot stuck or they can kind of get themselves stuck a little bit and they might have to struggle a little bit to get back up. So anyway, I guess she got a little bit stuck in her stall this morning and thankfully she didn't panic or anything and she's able to get herself free, but she might have kind of like wrenched that leg a little bit. My friend said she seemed to get up and kind of shake it off and seemed fine, so she wasn't too worried about it. But now I'm wondering if maybe she kind of strained it or did something. Anyway, did not like how she was reacting to it this morning, so we didn't do our walk. But thankfully, like right after that, the vet texted me to say I can come see Freddie this afternoon. And I was like, oh, that's perfect timing, because now she seems to have like maybe injured herself or kind of aggravated her old injury or whatever. So I gotta head back over as soon as the vet texts me to let me know that she's on her way, and we'll kind of sort all of this out. I'll see if I can get any video while I'm there. I'm obviously gonna have to be talking to her while she's looking at Freddie, but maybe I can set up my camera. Otherwise, give a little recap when we're done. Okay, it's the next morning and I need to do like a full recap of Freddie's vet appointment yesterday. But the short version is that it's not great news. Nothing really surprising. It's basically confirming some things that we've maybe suspected for a long time, but has always been a little bit hard to pin down because there have just been so many kind of ups and downs in Freddie's journey, but at the very least does provide some clarity on next steps and kind of where we're at. And action item number 1 is to go get Freddie some new feed because she basically needs to go on a bit of a diet. I'll explain more later about kind of what the plan is, but a lot of it is going to be kind of just trying to maintain her comfort and her condition so that she can be as healthy and happy as possible. And a big part of that is going to be kind of managing her metabolic status, not only for weight management, but also just to keep like her inflammation down, keep her more comfortable. So this morning I'm going to stop and pick up some new feed for her. Also another supplement that we're going to add in that might be able to help her a little bit. Right now she's going to need to be on a few days of just rest, no walking. So I'm just going to go groom her a little bit, give her some attention. I'll give a little more in-depth explanation later today. It's a bit later in the day. Finally have a little time to sit down and do a quick summary / recap of Freddie's vet appointment yesterday. So like I kind of hinted at before, it wasn't the best news, but also not necessarily anything surprising. I mean, I think when I came here, I had the hope that the passage of time and basically Freddie just being in a different environment and having had some additional different interventions over the last few years, that maybe she'd be in a little bit of a different place, have had a chance to heal and recover a little bit more, and perhaps we'd have the opportunity to kind of try again to get her back into a little bit of work or kind of find her threshold for exercise in general, because like humans, it would be very beneficial for Freddie to be able to get some daily exercise or regular activity just for her overall health. But it's been a while since we've kind of tested what her threshold is or what she can do and still be comfortable. So anyway, yesterday, I think I mentioned when I went over to the barn, my friend told me that she had kind of gotten a little bit stuck in her stall that morning, but it seemed like Freddie was fine when she got up, and my friend kind of checked her over and made sure she wasn't obviously injured and she was behaving like normal, so all seemed well. And then when I got over there a little bit later in the morning, I took her out to groom her, and I just noticed that she was really touchy on one leg, the leg that she has previously injured a whole bunch of times, that's always been a little bit more sensitive or just like a little bit inflamed, but she was being particularly sensitive about it, and she just was acting a little bit more uncomfortable than I've seen her recently. So I was a little bit concerned. Luckily, right around then, the vet texted me to say that she could come see Freddie that afternoon. We obviously had that appointment yesterday, and the conclusion was that Freddie likely has a degenerative soft tissue condition where her ligaments and tendons are essentially degrading over time, and that would kind of explain why she was never really able to heal well previously when she had injuries, and why every time we tried to get her in any kind of consistent work, she would start to get uncomfortable because basically like her ligaments and tendons just kind of degrading over time, which this has been suggested to me in the past by other vets that have worked with her. It's just been really hard to know for sure because it does progress differently in different horses, and if it's really slow, it's hard to know whether that's the cause or whether they're just not healing for some other reason. But given where she's at now and kind of all of her history, we are assuming that's the case and basically going to treat it as if that's the case. One, because there's not a lot that we can do besides trying to maintain her comfort comfort level. And two, like there is maybe one test we could do to 100% confirm, but it wouldn't really change how we proceeded forward. So we've come up with a plan, at least for the short term, and then we can kind of keep checking in on her over time and see how she's doing. But long term, we'll kind of just have to see how things play out, because as the vet was telling me, like every horse, just like humans, every horse is going to be a little bit different and it's going to progress differently. It could be that she maintains sort of where she's at now for a really long time and things don't really get worse, or it could start to progress more quickly, in which case we might have to do either more interventions or just kind of figure out what's going to be best for her at that point. But for now, some of the things we can do, one, like I said, she needs to go on a little bit of a diet, because any extra weight that she's carrying on ligaments and tendons that are already problematic is going to cause more strain and more discomfort. So we just need to be really, really careful that she's not getting too much food, especially because her exercise is going to be limited. So changing up her feed a little bit to make sure that she's getting all the nutrients she needs without overfeeding her. The other thing we can do is have the farrier put different shoes on her feet that will be more supportive. So also, like humans, horses can have different kinds of shoes that offer more or less support, more or less padding, etc. So we can give her a little bit more stability, and that might also help. There's also a supplement we can add in that kind of supports the health of soft tissue. And if we do all of those things, hopefully, at least in the short term, she'll be a lot more comfortable and kind of able to live like a normal horse life and be happy and healthy, which is ultimately what we want. And then kind of more long term, we will just have to kind of keep an eye on whether things are seeming to get worse. Like, is she coming up a little bit injured more often? Does she just seem more uncomfortable? Like if she starts to have problems where even just getting turned out in her paddock and kind of wandering around or doing any kind of activity, if that starts to become too much for her, we might have to readdress like what is going to be the best course of action. But for now, hopefully we can implement some of these new things, make her a little more stable, a little more comfortable, and then we'll just have to continue monitoring it over time. So it's definitely disappointing. I mean, I never want to hear that my horse is uncomfortable in any way or potentially going to have further problems down the road. But like I've said, it's been a very long journey with Freddie, and none of this is very surprising. I think at this point, it's just a lot more clarity and confirmation of what has kind of been theory in the past. And now we really know what we're dealing with and what we need to do to stay on top of it. So thankfully, she's in a really good place here. She has really good people to help take care of her even when I'm not here. She will get the care and attention that she needs. And even though maybe the long-term future might be a little more up in the air, for now we know what we need to do to keep her in a good place. So at this point, I'm still not totally sure when I'm going to be leaving Virginia. I would like to be here at least a little bit longer to kind of implement some of these new things for Freddie and make sure kind of her new program is in place and people that are helping me with her, we're all on the same page about what she needs going forward. But I'm starting to try to nail down what my departure date will be, and also, like I've said before, in communication with the people that I'm renting this apartment from about whether or not they have another renter coming in and when they would need me to be out of here. So nothing's totally in place yet, but definitely getting towards the end of my time here. Going to be preparing to leave sooner than later. I just want to make sure everything's good with Freddie, kind of wrap up all those last minute details. On a bit more of an upbeat note, I got this flower arrangement at the grocery store like almost a week ago. It looks exactly the same as the day I got it. It's lasted a really long time, and it was only $20, which I feel like is a really good deal for not only the arrangement, but also this cute pumpkin vase that it came in that I can totally take home and reuse. I've been using Freddie's balance pads as a block kind of for my workouts. Since these are made for horses, they're very firm, so I can stack them to make a little block, or I can use them as like a wedge. So these have come in handy. We'll have a second life, I guess. Good morning. It's now about 11 o'clock on Sunday. I just finished up at the barn. Freddie still has to have a few more basically rest days, so we're not doing any walking right now. She still seems a little bit sore, uncomfortable after she got kind of stuck in her stall the other day. So I just went over and gave her a bath this morning. And I'm stopping at CVS to see if I can get 2 new prescriptions from my doctor for the next antifungal medications she wants me to start taking. If you saw the last appointment I had with her where we went over the split sample gut testing that I did, one thing that had come up was a little bit of candida, and that plus some things that came up on a previous environmental toxins test meant that she wanted me to do kind of a more consistent course of some antifungal medications and supplements for a few months to see if that might be beneficial or if I might notice anything. So right now I'm taking itraconazole and getting towards the end of that one. I can't remember what the 2 new ones are, but I believe those prescriptions were called into the CVS pharmacy back home in Minnesota, and I need to find out if the one here can just transfer them or get those filled for me while I'm here. And since I'm almost out of the one that I'm on right now, I want to try to have those stocked up before I get ready to head home. So I'm gonna go see if they can get those filled for me. I've been buying these cases of spring water in glass bottles because the tap water tastes really bad and it smells like chlorine, so I don't really want to drink it. But I have to say, one thing I will not miss when I go home is having to load and unload glass bottles of water or cases of water from my car to the apartment. It's about 3:15 now on Tuesday afternoon. I just got off of a Zoom call and I have another call coming up in a little bit. And I also have a webinar I need to watch today. It's just kind of like a free continuing education thing that I signed up for, but I only have 48 hours to watch the replay. So I want to get to that today. And since I will have been sitting at my desk for quite a while, I think what I'm going to do is take my computer down to the gym, set it up on the treadmill, and just do a little bit of walking while I watch the webinar, get some steps in. I feel like it helps me focus better, so I can actually take in what I am watching and learning. In case I haven't explained this before, I am a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach. I also have a specialty certification in sleep, stress, and recovery, and a couple other specialty certifications in like behavior change psychology, mindset, behavior change coaching, and health coaching. So basically I work with people to help them change their behavior so they can meet their health and fitness goals. Anyway, all of that to say, I have to do a certain amount of continuing education every year or so. The webinar that I'm watching today won't like count or have any credits towards that, but did also sign up for a course that is going to start in November that I'm really looking forward to. And this is a certification course in neuronutrition. So it's about how not only nutrition like impacts our brain and our health, but also how our brain and things like stress and trauma and past experiences shape how we make food and nutrition choices, and kind of just like that interplay between the brain and the body. So I'm excited about that. It's been a while since I've done like a full-blown certification course, but I need to get a certain amount of credits to renew my nutrition certification this year, and I just happened to hear about this course at the right time. So hopefully we'll be able to like share some of what I'm learning once I start that. But for now, gotta get on this other call, and then we'll go get some steps in while doing my little continuing ed workshop.